Hey there, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Jamie, and we're your co-hosts for Two Clicks in a Pod.
Join us as we explore our missed times, stories, and memories due to divorce and a 1,000-mile separation.
I can't wait. You ready to get into it, Kev?
I am. Hey, Jamie, you think they're going to swear?
Oh, yeah. Consider yourselves warned.
Problem last time you
I
were
swear
there.
to God. I do.
I mean, you hadn't been there in 3 weeks.
It's been a hot minute, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about all that. Thank you for your patience, is what I should say. As someone who has none, I should thank people more when they show me when they show patience to me. Is that how you would say that? Show patience to me or give patience to me? How
Demonstrate.
would you say that? Demonstrate patience for me, with me. Demonstrate
With me.
patience with me. Well, hey there. Hi there.
Hey.
Hello there. Jamie McClintock. We're back again.
Yep.
Coming off the
We
solo
are.
episodes, Dad. What was the have you had any feedback on your own solo besides the feedback we gave each other? I'm just curious. Have you had any feedback from people on what they thought of the solo exchange?
I'm sorry, what? Had they what?
Like what they thought of the solo episodes.
Well, no, I didn't. Here again, I did not do a very good job. I thought about it of trying to push it, and then we were late kind of getting the artwork.
Good.
Yeah. Push. There you go. But yeah, I have not had any direct feedback. I kind of was talking to Mom when we were going through the disc right after you had done yours and finished it, and I had listened to it before it dropping live on Tuesday, and Mom was talking about this and that, and I asked her, I said, have you been listening to the podcast? And she said, well, I haven't in a while. I asked my sister Cindy that same thing yesterday. Well, I haven't in a while. And I said, well, what's going on, guys? I mean, and Mom goes, well, I really got kind of tired of just Jamie beating up on you all the time. And she said, it just really kind of bothered me. And I said, well, it probably bothered you more than it bothers me. I mean, that's just something, when you do this, you got to have some tough skin, and better yet, I know how to check my feelings in at the door and not worry about it. But I said, no, you really need to, you'll see a different side of your granddaughter here if you make the effort to listen to it. And so it wasn't, maybe an hour. It was on the weekend that we were talking. It was an hour later, and I get a text from her, and she said, I just listened to the podcast. And she goes, I was in tears.
I was just say, I don't think I beat up on you in a while. Have we?
No. I tell you how long it's been since she's listened.
It's been a while since they've listened. Well, we'll have to.
But I said, I think Jamie, there's my first, Jamie hit pretty well what her feelings were, and in reflecting and respecting, the patience and the times, and that she can kind of get on a wild horse every now and then, romping through the fields. But yeah, she showed a really good side of her acknowledgement of just realizing, what it was, and what it is. So there you go.
But I will just say, I appreciate the exercise we did in speaking to one another, and it was weird not having you on here, but I'm happy to be back again, reunited to share. I got something in the mail today, Dad.
Oh yeah.
I got the I'm sharing the old wedding invite. So
oh wow.
Just letting you know, it has made its way to the East Coast from Tennessee, and looking forward to the wedding in September 20th. It's gonna be here before we know it, Dad.
Did you get that today?
I got it today.
Okay, because I know Cindy got hers the other day, and then Leslie said that she hadn't gotten hers, but it probably hit her today.
Mail system is very unpredictable.
I know. I'm surprised they got there in time, actually.
Nothing against our postal service workers, but unpredictable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting. Got that going on, and just trying to get through these last 4 weeks of summer, Dad.
Yeah, you've got 4. Obviously, Suzanne was supposed to be at work today at school. She really struggled whether she was going to go back and teach this year. I asked her not to, and then she just got to thinking about it, that she finally got her first retirement check, but that's not really up to the level that she can make, even working 20 hours a week at, $30 an hour part-time. So she's back at it.
Yeah.
Although she has missed it because she was sick over the weekend and still not feeling up to snuff. So therefore she probably won't be there until Wednesday. But
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that the southern schools are getting back in it. I know Julie's girls go back tomorrow, I think, and Kara, being a teacher, is back at school doing the prep. I think Florida goes back in a week or so, but pretty crazy. We're yeah, we've got, what is it? It's August, so we've got another 4 weeks, and then I'm ready for it though. I feel like all I do is complain about summer, but it's been a busy one, and I'm ready for just not that life is never not busy, but all this driving. I just feel like all I do is drive constantly. I'm so ready to not have to drive anywhere every single day, you know?
yeah, yep.
Mhm.
I know.
Lot of I mean, you tend to like driving, I guess, if you're in your bus, but
Well, yeah, I do. And I really enjoyed when leaving the bus behind and going to Atlantic City to get with you guys and do the show there at the Borgata Def Leppard show. I really enjoyed being in the car, which kind of surprised me, but it's just a lot more efficient way driving.
oh
I
yeah.
don't know. I do love being able to just pull over and find a space to park or find a campground and enjoy and open the bus up and get it docked and ready. And that takes time, but just getting in the car and driving, like I said, to get from here to you or get from here to Atlantic City
Mhm.
as we did in the time that we did. I mean, that was pretty incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
left left uh left you, and in 11 hours we just drove straight through, and it really wasn't bad. I mean,
Yeah, it's not too
norm
bad. I'm
Suzanne, I think, drove the first 3. I drove the next 3, and or maybe we drove 4 and 4, and then I got us home. But
yeah.
that was a fun trip and an easy trip. And we it was so funny. We'd be going through the the country after we got off. I don't think we made it before the ferry. It was after the ferry and going through. No, it was before the ferry. It was going through, getting to the ferry and
Mhm.
going through that farm area, and I believe there was some Amish areas and whatnot, but there was just vegetable and fruit stand after vegetable and fruit
Oh
stand.
yeah.
We go whipping in there, and we're coming out with a dozen ear of corn and
We're
all
like,
the veg, all the
yeah.
vegetables and peaches and couple watermelons, and we carry that stuff all the way home. It was amazing. And the girls told us, they go, you will never have you probably have never had a tomato that tastes this good. And they did live up to what they proclaimed them to be. But
There you go.
that was fun. So, but me, when I get going, I'm not stopping anywhere. I said, well, we'll stop at one, but it's got to be on the right side of the road. And better
Oh
yet, I'm
yeah.
going in there and I'm bagging that stuff up, and we're going to be in and out in 15 minutes. We're not going to talk to everybody when
Yeah.
we go in there.
This is not a
So,
Bucky stop. Yeah. Well,
oh
it's
yeah.
wild, like you said. Just it's to me. It's like if there's not traffic, I can drive for a while. Like you said, I'm good with that. I was joking about it over the weekend down in Pittsburgh. I'm like, Parker gets in the back seat. He's doing his own thing, so I can listen to whatever book I want to listen to or music I want to listen to, and it's just it's uninterrupted me time for 5 hours from here to Pittsburgh if there's no traffic. So I was great. I just, it's like get on 76 and drive straight. Because some people were complaining about it, but I don't mind driving. It's just like that's different. What I'm talking about is just hey mom, can you drive me here real quick? Can you take me to this friend's house? Can you take me to the pool? Can you pick me up from the pool? And then I'm taking Parker to the same place like 10 minutes down the road, but she doesn't want to leave at that time. So I got to go back, 45 minutes. It's just been a whip, but that's all right. At least they're doing things. At least they're not sitting at home. They're active
Well,
right now for the most part.
I have a suggestion. It's not an economical one.
What is that? Put them on a bicycle?
No. I wouldn't trust them on a bicycle. I would not do that. But
No.
in getting on, Uber and Lyft, I can't remember. I think it was an Uber driver. It might have been a Lyft driver as well, but they have approved drivers that can pick up.
Oh, I know. For kids,
sub-teenagers, for kids.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they cut them a break on the rate or whatever, but they have to go through a pretty heavy vetting process to make that happen.
Yeah.
But with as much coupon activity that I get from Lyft and Uber on, 25% off or this and that.
Are you going to share the wealth? You going to send me some coupons?
No, well, I can send you the coupons. I mean, I can send you the deal, but I mean, normally if you take a ride or two, then it's like I get 15% off the next 3 Lyft rides, not that I'm taking 3.
Yeah. Your
three in
social
a deal.
life is just much more, your social life is much more interesting and packed than mine is.
Well,
I mean, you're like, my point being is you actually are doing things to require an Uber ride. Like I'm not doing anything fun, Dad.
I know, but just think about if somebody, if Reese wanted to go to the pool and you really didn't, it wasn't on the calendar, you could say, yeah, girl. I mean, you go ahead, call up, go put an Uber for Kids request in.
Well,
you got some chores to do and some babysitting to do, and
no
you
doubt.
got an allowance of $20 a week to get you there and back. I mean, of course, an Uber ride today is not cheap for sure.
Nothing's cheap. You would not believe how much money I've gone through feeding these kids at the pool because I've been, lazy and not packing them a lunch. And I'm going through $20-$25 a day. These kids are eating like fucking mozzarella sticks. I'm like, this is insane. What did you eat for lunch? Because I said, where's my change? Oh, we don't have any. I'm like, I gave you $30 like 2 days ago, like 2 days worth of food. What did you eat? Well, Mom, everything for lunch costs $6. And then we get an ice cream. And then Reese had the nerve to go, and, Parker had to get a bag of chips. And I'm like, so it's Parker's fault because he got an extra thing of chips? Like, unbelievable. So, I mean, it's my own fault. I should have been packing their lunch, but everything's expensive.
That pool needs to be next door to a Costco. They can go get the $1.50 dog. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those people are probably just like stacking cash in a giant one of those grain containers that holds like corn for feed, like those giant things you see out in the farm. They probably, you remember you may not remember that show. It was a cartoon called DuckTales. And
oh yeah.
And Scrooge McDuck or whatever. And they had him, he was in that like silo thing, just backstroking through gold coins. That's what I picture the people that own Lynn Villa, just like backstroking through like gold coins. Like all the money. Oh, well. Well, anywho, it's, I can't remember if we shared that. We had our AC trip. Def Leppard was good. Went down to DC for the night. 2 nights. That was great. Little quick getaway, just Chris and I into Georgetown. That was lovely. It was kind of weird because we went on a Monday and a Tuesday night. It's like coming back to have to work. And then I left on Friday for Pittsburgh right after. So it threw me off, but it just goes to show you just 2 nights for all of you married people out there with busy lives because of your children. It's amazing what 2 nights really not doing much. Like, we didn't really plan anything other than going to see the show Tuesday. How, like, relaxed and just enjoyable it was to be together. I was like, this is great. Like, we just, we slept and we got up and we walked around and we had some lunch and we just talked and we just enjoyed being together again.
Yeah.
And my point is you didn't need to do anything crazy or super special, but to realize like how much 2 days of that can just recharge you as adults,
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it.
Well, that is cool. It's funny you mentioned that I know you went to see Wildorado, but where were they performing? Was it just a small venue?
They played at the 930 Club, which that may be a familiar name to you. Apparently, it's one of these clubs that's been around for forever. Famous club there in DC. Good. It was a good size venue. I think they said they had, more than a couple thousand people in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time, Dad, I made a mature decision. I felt every bit of 44 because I didn't go down onto the floor. I mean, it was general admission tickets, and we were there early enough I could have been right up on the stage.
Yeah.
And we get up there, and they had an upstairs with a balcony that overlooked it, and we got there early enough, too, to be right on the balcony, and Chris was like, I think I just want to stay here. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. So we're standing there and he's like, do you want to go down? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I kept going back and forth for probably 20 minutes as we're like waiting for the opening band to even start. And he's like, well, you need to make up your mind because now it's starting to get crowded and you're too short. Like, if we don't get down there now, you're not gonna be able to see anything. And I was like, no, let's stay. We're comfortable here. It's easy to grab a drink. Like, we're not in the masses. And it was really enjoyable. But like, I had this at this pool for like 20 minutes of not being like down with all the people. And you know me, I like to dance. I like to feel the movement. And I felt like I couldn't do that as much, but I didn't let it hold me back for too long. I got right back into it. I was bouncing around. Oh man.
Well, was it such, some of those, well, it's like we were talking about the other day when we were talking about going to the Ryman, just how close those seats are. You can't really, the bands try to get you to stand up. And if you stand up, you really can't move around. You're just so cramped in there that it's not a good place to just be free willing in it. And they do that, I think, on purpose. You're in church pews. So you have, you're slamming 5 people into the pew area that can hold 4. And it's just kind of uncomfortable and if you're going to get, you don't get to stand up down. You can stand up, but you don't get to go batshit crazy. You know what I'm saying? You're not able to dance around. And
they're not there yet, right? Like when they're still playing at clubs. So like it's GA tickets. It's $25 to see these guys. And I still stand behind. They're just phenomenal. Like they're so good. And so, yeah, you're just kind of standing there, but it's like Chris said, I went and saw Zach Bryan with Liz. Great show. Don't get me wrong. We had a great time, but it's just like that whole experience now of going to the large venue shows. It's just a lot, it's like tickets are crazy expensive. Then you get there and it's like everything about it is expensive, whether you're parking or Ubering to get there. And then it's time to go home and you can't get out of these fucking places. It's like to get an Uber is impossible, to get a cab. I mean, we ended up meeting these people who were at our same hotel that said, we'll split it with you because it was like $90 to go a mile down the road in an Uber. And they didn't want to pay for it like on their own, but they're like, we'll split it with you. And I was like, yeah, I'm just ready to get out of here. Like we're stuck in this parking lot of this underground garage. I don't know. It was just, so you had like this great night and then it kind of ruins it. Cause then at the end of it, you're just like, it's exhausting to you just want to get back, you know? And it's the
Mm-hmm.
same if you do it down here in Philly and all of that. But so Chris was like, I just don't know that I need to go to any of these big shows anymore. Like we go to these clubs and watch these bands we like for $30 and it's like, it's great, you know, but I don't know. I say that. And even like when we saw Def Leppard in Atlantic City, another great experience. You know, they
Yeah.
had it sat 5,000 people and the sound was great. They started at 8:00. They were done by 10:30 and we were out of there. It was just like,
Mm-hmm.
you
And
know,
just got to walk to the room. So
and then we walked to the room. It's like, you can't beat that, you know? I
yeah,
thought it was great.
I did too. And I do enjoy those kind of venues and those experiences tenfold more, like you say, to be able to walk in and be able to get out, be able to,
Yeah.
easily migrate out to a restroom or back in or wherever you want to go, just the easy in and out. And as well on some of the smaller theater stages, the classic theater stages, those are very cool too. That sounds a little bit like the place that we went to in Ashland, Kentucky, called the Paramount Theater, and saw
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of the '80s bands. And it's like you say, there's a lower area. Everybody got a chair. It's not like there's just a pit down there, but then everybody's got more of the riser type stuff, like we did
Yeah.
as well at Def
The
Leppard.
Borgata.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that place probably holds about 2,500 people. And those are
Yeah.
to me, those are ideal. And the sound is always tenfold better. And you see, I don't know if I kind of track Def Leppard since we've left them and watching where they're
Mm-hmm.
going. And they're going to big stadiums, small stadiums. They'll go play in front of anybody.
Yeah.
It's not got to be a sold out 50,000 seat arena. And I appreciate that. And that's what I focus on. We're going to go. We've got, next time that we see, it's not Tesla, but we get to see, not Styx, but we get to see Foreigner.
You're going to
again
see
in
Foreigner
October.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure who's with them, but there again, that's Choctaw, and that's just perfect. In and out, and no pressure, no stress, nobody getting in trouble.
No muss, no fuss, no muss, no muss, no fuss. Yep. What do they say? What's the saying? Yeah.
But just
yeah.
Tickets themselves, regardless. But Wildorado, Coe Wetzel's tickets have gone up in price. He's on the road. You've got Kevin Hankins' little boy, Mac Hankins. He's really knocking it down hard and doing well. And they're just doing these little country festivals here and there, and in and out, and making good money and getting their stuff out on the road. And Mac Hankins is 19 years old, so he's been opening up for Billy Bob's, and has been on a tour all summer long, just going from small fair, small venue, and just seems to be having a blast. So
yeah, that's great. It's good. It's a good time.
That's how you perfect your craft, is getting all that playing time and practice in.
Oh yeah,
just playing night after night after night.
Yeah. Well, and you can, again, it's a good experience. Those smaller venues, I just don't think you can beat it. It's just all around a good experience. So it's been a good summer, but ready for it hard to believe we are more than halfway through the year, Dad, which is crazy.
It just seems like it was New Year's yesterday, doesn't it?
Well, it's funny because I was circling back. I been looking forward to catching up with you because I've had some more self-reflection in the last 8 weeks, I think, than I've had in quite some time. And I kept in my mind, like, I kept having these moments where I would tell myself, well, you had good intentions. You had the best of intentions. And you hear people say that phrase all the time, the best of intentions. And I just was going through a period of I felt like 2 or 3 weeks there where I just felt like I kept saying that. And then it was frustrating me because I just wanted to have a day of feeling success. I guess what I'm trying to say, I got really tired of hearing myself in my own head say, we had good intentions, Jamie, In other words,
Is that
you
your
still
code word for not
you,
getting
you
things
still
done?
failed. Yeah, you still failed. Yeah,
Still took an
exactly.
F. Still took an F. Yep.
Well, so I thought, you know what? I'll share this with Dad as my as my therapy session on the next episode. And I wrote down specifically. I wanted to give you. I came up with three examples I'll share. But all of this circling back, thinking about how we started the year off, where we shared our intentions we wanted for ourselves in the year. So my first thing was just failure on my intention of being consistently active, and um, uh, weight gain. 100% have gained weight. That's obviously an outcome of not being achieving my my goals of healthy living and consistent exercise. So definitely feeling that failure. Although today, every day, every Monday is a new Monday. So I I came out of Pittsburgh on Sunday driving home, like, all right, tomorrow's Monday. It's a fresh start. It's a fresh week, and you can always start over. You can always start on Monday. That's kind of my other. I feel like I say that all the time. So I was good today. I got up, made a good breakfast, did my good lunch. Chris made a nice healthy dinner. All good, feeling good about that. So I'm trying to just remind myself that there's never not another day to start again, right? In terms of that stuff. So
That's true.
I've come around to that. So that was my first, like, when I said, well, I had great intentions. My second one has been in my work life, and I've brought you into some of this that I've been dealing with lately, but an overwhelming feeling from a professional standpoint of being just smacked in the face of a wake-up call, a reality thinking for years, doing things right, best of intentions, good processes, good procedures. You think you're just knocking it out, only to uncover that you, in fact, there were issues at bay, and obviously working through those professionally and trying to find the grace and the learning. My boss keeps coining a phrase I love. He keeps saying, never let a crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
And I like that. I've been saying silver linings a lot. I keep finding that I'm like, silver lining. We learned this. We learned, we can do this better next time. But, again, that overwhelming feeling at the end of the days for about 4 weeks there, just, wow. Well, I had good intentions. I went into it thinking it was all good. So that was another experience. And then another big one just has been, like, relationships and wanting to be more present, wanting to be more active in communicating, thinking I am communicating well, only to realize, you know, I've let somebody down, or I've hurt someone's feelings, or where I think I handled it okay, I didn't handle it well from their perspective. So I've had some of those moments in the last, few weeks too. And again, and every time I'm like, well, my intentions were good. Like I didn't intend to do that. It was never what I wanted to do. But again, it just had me circling a lot on life and leading a life where you think you're doing things for the right reasons or in the right way, only to be smacked in the face to realize maybe you aren't.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. A lot said right there. I think the best of intentions kind of coincides. Shane, your brother, always says a lot in our meetings, work with intention, move with intention. That's all I really want to see, is that you have some degree of being intentional in your direction. A lot of people are not, and talked a little bit about this on the one and one podcast that we did, but the whole PAR acronym that Dylan brought forward to plan, take action, and then 3, reflect. And reflection is probably the bigger part of it, depending on how good you are at planning and how good you are at taking action. If you're not good at planning and take action, there's not a whole lot to reflect about. But if you get forward, that is and not everyone is as organized or everybody is motivated. Everybody's a different person for sure. So the other thing, as you said, it's consistency. That's another favorite saying. As long as you're consistent doing what you've gone out to do, that's what shows results. And I as well got off the bandwagon of getting 4 workouts done and getting a walk in and doing that. And again, I went from I was so proud to have broken 183 pounds, and then I go to Cabo for a week and 2 weeks and 3 weeks. And actually, that part of the trip really is not the bad part of the trip, because you're making a point to work out every day. You got you're in the water, you're moving around. It's the last couple times I've gone since being on this, in this health mode, it seems like when I get back, I'm in pretty good shape. I haven't brought back, 10 pounds with me, or 5 pounds. It may be a pound or 2, but I find just not being intentional. And I always felt I could be intentional at home better than I can away. And that's a true statement, but you still have to get up and make sure that you're doing your workout on Mondays and Tuesdays. You got your off day on Wednesday and Thursdays and Fridays. Now, in this last push, I've learned to be consistent with that quantity of workout. If I have to move it around, just like last week, and everybody's coming in on Monday, well, I didn't get a workout in until Tuesday. Better yet, I didn't even get my weight workout in. I just got a good long 2-mile walk in the morning before we started on Tuesday. So Monday, everybody kind of arrived and nothing happened that day. Tuesday, I was able to get a walk in. At the end of the day, kind of did something up. Well, I didn't do it until I took my off day Wednesday and did my Tuesday workout. So I've learned to balance that to where at the end, if I hit 4 out of 4 and get a couple walks in, and this is the time to walk, it ain't in the winter time. It ain't in the winter time here.
No
but
doubt.
I've been, this past week, I walked three times, three 2-mile laps, in addition to getting my 4 workouts done. And sure enough, I jump on the scale after working this week and working through last week. And what I started off at 187 pounds last Monday, I'm down to under 185 today. So it just shows if you're consistent of doing what you're supposed to do. And the other thing for me that helps is I can tell if I'm not drinking water, I'll pick up a pound or 2 just from trying to retain water. So
yeah.
getting that's big with me, getting that 80 ounces. The whole point here is you do have to be consistent. You do have to, and I feel it's important for your health that if you don't, there's repercussions to that. There's not.
Oh yeah.
You don't. You gotta. I wish, and you go through phases. I know in my 40s, that's when I was working out with Wally and kind of had met Wally and Michelle, and we were going through training and doing this. And I just look back on it. I just can't, that to me didn't even, I don't even remember what I weighed back then. But I mean, I know when I started flying at age, I was 175 pounds. Now I'm 185 pounds. So look how, that's not bad after 50 years or 40 years of being at that point. And yet it is something that you have to work at. And I think, like you say, you have the best of intentions. I know I feel very bad if I don't do what I say I'm going to do. And I'm thankful that that's the way I am, because that's enough drive. And I read about it in this book I'm writing, in every chapter, of just not being who I need to be, but trying to be fearful of who I really am. So those kind of things. But you're right. I think just be steady, be focused, be intentional, be consistent. And we can't beat ourselves up for not making a workout every day. Shit happens. It's like Dad said, that's just life. Things aren't going to go the way you want it to. And that seems pretty cliche, but it's true. Life gets in the way of a lot of things.
It does. And I think
your schedule is as crazy as I think. I don't think anybody as crazy as I thought it was running kids around, I didn't have to do that as much as your mother did for sure. But as much as we went and did and accomplished, it's not near what you're going through. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even freaking close. So
Well, and a lot of that is self-inflicted, right? So, but at the same time, I wouldn't change it. Like people say that all the time. Well, maybe don't take Parker to the unnecessary hockey tryout in freaking August, right? Like, and I value those people's opinions, and I hear that, I do, but at the same time, I'm like, but if my kid shows the drive to want to himself try to achieve that goal and be successful for himself, then and I can make that happen for him, I'm going to do that, and
mhm,
whether he's 9, 14, or 19, like I'm never not going to do that for any of them.
mhm.
So, but yeah, a lot of it is self-inflicted, but it's like I was telling Chris when we were in Georgetown, kind of just talking about, because he's been worried about me. He's like, he knows what the stress I've been under with work, and just the summers are hard, and he's he tells me all the time, he's like, just take a breath and ask for help. Like, you just take it all on. And he's like, and not like you're a martyr, but just take a breath, ask for help, and realize you don't have to control everything, and I think, one, I agree with that he says that, and I'm trying to be better about it. Um, because what I have found about myself is that I cause self-inflicted burnout of my own life. You know what I mean? It's like, because I do so much, then when there is a breath to take, it's almost like I take too much. I'm like, I'm just going to lay here. And then I get lazy, where it's like, well, I could have gone and done a quick 30-minute workout instead of just laying there, not doing anything,
Mhm.
because I was overwhelmed and wanted to just take a minute to myself. So I'm trying to, in a very unarticulate way, I guess, say, I think half of my problem is just finding how to channel that stress, that feeling of needing the break, into a productive way of taking that break, right? And realizing, like, while yes, going downstairs and working out is something else I'm adding to my plate, but reminding myself, but it's going to make you feel better when you're done, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Just as much as laying down on the couch and reading for half an hour. It's like, don't do that. Get up and go do that other thing first, that's going to bring more value, quite frankly, to your life in many different ways. So I'm trying to get there. Um, Again, just sharing for those out there that may feel the same way. I don't have any answers, or not really looking for yours, but always value your opinion and kind of what you think. But I hear you. I hear the point about consistency. I could not agree more. I see these people out all the
Well,
time that they run every day, or that are so consistent, and I think, how do you like how do you become that person? Like, who are those people, and what's the psychology behind it? Because I'm all for it. Like, I'm fine. I would love to be like that. I'm just not.
well, I think what you have to look at is two things. Number one, it's kind of, is the glass half empty or is it half full? So
Mm,
look at it in the positive. You're half full, you're not half empty. The other thing would be, if you weren't running Parker around doing what you want to do, or doing what he would love doing, what you like to pursue, which you enjoy as well. From my perspective, what I find myself is, there's plenty of times where I say, well, let's go out on the boat, and we get ready and let's go do that. And then I think about it. Well, this goes back to the 5-second rule. I'm going to think
yeah.
about it. Well, I've got to get all that shit together. It's not hanging out at the boat dock. It's in the garage. I got to load up the Jeep. Got to go over there. It's 15 minutes to get there. I get to walk it down, pull it down in a wagon, put it in the boat, uncover the boat, clean up the boat before we go, get it go out on the lake, out on the experience, which, as I won't get into those details, it's Old Hickory Lake, but they call it Old Stickery because you can't move around without hitting something. But anyway, it's more work than it's worth. But in the same light of things, just when you get motivated and knowing that you've been pushing off, you're motivated by going and getting Parker where you've said he's going to go. So that's an accomplishment right there.
Mm-hmm.
My point I was trying to make with that is you can sit around and think about not going and then not go, but you still get up and go. So that is with intention.
Yeah.
And that goes to the point of, and the practice of the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The idea was there, or the plan is there, and you count it down and you got to move forward and make it happen, or else it ain't happening. So that's no different. That's no different than these people, I guarantee you, that go out and run 3 miles a day. And reading this book and listening to Mel Robbins' story, she was the same way. She could not even get up on an alarm with her phone because she just kept hitting snooze, and she didn't know how to get over that. So she said, I'm going to just change. I'm going to change. I'm going to give it 5 seconds. I'm going to count it down, and at 0, I got to get up and go. It's going to be hard. I don't like it, but she's had more people, and in listening to the Audible, call in and say, I hate to run, but I know running is healthy for me and it makes me feel good. So why don't I? Well, all you got, I felt the same way when Shane showed up Monday and I didn't get my workout in. I said, well, I'm going to get up at 6. I'm up at 6 anyway. It's not like I'm getting up. I'm an easy get out of bed, go. I work with intention, but I don't take what I need to do, which is to get that walk out of the way. So he's at the table already at 6 o'clock. And I said, well, I'm going for a walk. He was just talking about going for a walk the night before. I said, I didn't ask him to go. I just, well, I'm going to go ahead for a walk. So walk out the door, get my 38 minutes in or whatever it takes. I'm down to like a 16-minute mile. So 2 miles takes me 32 minutes. And you can't take 32 minutes to just first thing in the morning when nobody else is operating to get up in the morning. It isn't 100% humidity at that point in the day.
Yeah.
It's 70 degrees, and get that done for yourself. And then you're free to do what you want to do. So I think timing is everything. And I'm not a big morning person that loves to get up and work out early, but if I have the thought to say, and that's my commitment, if I say I need to go on a walk, I'm going to make sure that when I have that thought, I'm going. I'm not going to sit there and I'll say I'll do it later, because later never happens.
Yeah.
And I think consistency. So I've gotten in a routine of working out kind of at my lunch hour, 11:30 to 12:30, and then I can make lunch. So being consistent with that. And it's just like tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday. It's a walk day. So I'm going to get up first thing in the morning, get that done, come back and get my workout done again at noon and get that over. And I just feel tenfold better
when you do it.
And that's a stress buster too.
That's what I mean.
That's a stress buster.
I know.
The shit you've been going out with work, you do need a little bit of like a break time or the time away to just, it's not, you can't. I have a habit of sitting at my desk nonstop, even though I'm not doing anything.
Right.
I'll find something to do here just because I have nothing else that really is driving me to do. But I've got a garage out there that I could go tidy up, or 3 cars that I could go out there and wash. I got all kinds of things that I should be doing rather than just sitting here and wasting time writing this silly book.
Well, that
is fun.
I've thought about that too. And I've thought about bringing back literally and using my phone, not going paper, but just creating a weekly to-do list of what are the 5 things that I will say I have to get done this week. And one of those could be mow the grass. It's I got to mow. I got to get out and mow. And then to your point, get the car washed. I'm not even saying wash it myself. I mean, go get the car washed, because I keep saying I need to wash this car. So I think I'm going to start doing that. And just working that list. It's if I get those 5 things done, great. But you can't sit and not do nothing if you still got the things on your list. Is what I'm going to try to start. And each week the list can change. It's all right, well, what do I need to get done, this week? And sometimes the list will be the same, it's
the other thing that just came to me is and this came straight out of the book, and it's a what I like about this book, and I'm not bragging, but a lot of things that she suggests, I'm already doing. I am an early riser. I go and I fill out my today card every morning to make sure these
Oh,
are the
you have
things that
today
I know.
cars. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the things I'm trying. So there's your car wash.
Yeah.
Your best of intentions card.
I like that.
Look at it that way. That's your best of intentions. So write down what your best of intentions are for yourself and what you hope to accomplish, and then go out and knock those out. And then, where is my card? I scratched them off today. So, but that's a physical record. Journaling. Shane's gotten into a practice of journaling.
Is he still doing his bullet journal?
I think so.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think is intentional, that as much as I know it's a lot of work, and it seems to be a distraction in a lot of ways, I've learned, as we've said on the podcast, of just doing this podcast, how much we've learned preparing to go back and see high schoolers that I hadn't seen in 52 years was a lot of learning and relearning.
Mm-hmm.
And then writing this is nothing more than a memoir of 1955 to 2025 of my life, of just short stories and funny stories and happenings, and basically journaling backwards rather than proactively journaling. And it's very therapeutic, and it's made me, it's allowed me to see, well, the path I've traveled, but the path that could have been traveled, if that makes any mistake. That had I just had a little more intentional versus just free will,
living.
free willy living, that would have, that discipline could have really changed a lot of poor decisions that were made, that just were outside of what I like to think was of who I was, or who I morally was. And it just we talk about, or I talk about, being raised and going to school and going to Catholic school and being in church and doing this and doing that, the Christian awakening movements. And when you're in touch with something that you believe in, it keeps you grounded to know that's what needs to be done. And when you aren't intentional about continuing to do those things, that's when you wander, and that's when you fall apart, and that's when you don't do good, and you aren't who you are, and you find other things to gratify yourself that just it's not who you really are.
It's
but
not
it happens.
serving yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
well, I love that. The name of that book again? Sorry, I know you told me, Mel Robbins. It's
5-second rule.
5-second rule. That's right.
I really, I told Suzanne, and I know Dan will listen to this, so I'm gonna commit myself and be intentional. I told myself I was going to buy a copy and send it to Dano, because it's a great book of just getting up and doing and taking action and making shit happen. So,
well,
being intentional.
I will add it to my Audible. I will do so. But I appreciate the sounding board. I just needed to vent some of that. So I like talking these things through with you. So thank you for that.
You're
welcome.
Thank
you for listening.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
It isn't. Right. It isn't that catastrophic, for sure. It's not.
No, it's not. It feels like it. But at the same time, this kind of goes back to the 2 nights in Georgetown I did. It's like I told Chris, I said, life is pretty damn good. It's as rough as it's been, and as hard on myself as I am, and that I'm carrying 15, maybe 20 extra pounds. Like life is not bad, so I'm trying to just try to be more intentional in what, if I want it, then be intentional to make it happen is my full circle statement of where I'm at. Like, if it matters that enough to care, stress about it, vent about it, complain about it, then be intentional enough to try to fix it.
Well, and you made an opening remark at the beginning, and it's really a very true reckoning that it is already the 1st of August.
Yeah.
8 months of this year has just gone by. And what have we done in that 8 months to really be intentional in getting where you want to go? We're so busy, overwhelmed in the day to day. And, you sit down, you go to work, you get up at the end of the day and you look at what you've accomplished. And it's probably about 2/10 of what you wanted to accomplish just with distractions. But the point being is just take some accountability to be intentional and some good practice. I mean, my best time of the day that I get things done is between 5 and 7 o'clock. After that, I might as well be out on a walk because there isn't a whole lot going on until I just regroup for a little bit and hit it again. But there's just, I think it's just a matter of, and relish in the fact of what you do accomplish. Like you say, we've got things pretty good. There's not anything that we really ache for or want or don't have. We're still, we need to be thankful for what we have. We're not going hungry. We've got clothes to wear and things on our back and a nice house and a good life and plenty of hockey. And I do love the memes on Facebook about parents that spend $1 million to put their kids through hockey in their life. That I do like those, but that's with anything that you pursue and anything you do. It's not
crazy.
Just hockey.
I mean,
that racing, the little girl that won the Loretta Lynn motocross event, open class, 10 to 12 years old, and she's 11-year-old, first female to ever take a championship on a dirt bike.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. And at a very, just at 11 years old. So it's not like it was open class to the women, but it was open class in her category, and it's never been done before. So she has been all over Facebook and
that's
achievement.
awesome.
Yeah, that was going on this weekend, which I've always said I would like to go at least watch that event in the summertime. Summertime is end of July, I guess. That's not that far away, actually.
Yeah, almost gone.
It's about 2 hours away from us. So,
all right,
honey. Well, on to the next one.
Yeah.
Is your mouse working to where you can shut us down?
I can.
You got to come out of turn 4. It's running hot, and our PMs
shit.
are up, and got to just shut her down.
I always think of when you have technology struggles. You know that movie Napoleon Dynamite, and the brother, his name was I think it was Kip. And he was like a real nerdy character. And remember, he writes songs, and he has that one. It's like, I love technology, but not as much as she loves me. So like every time I have technology problems, I just see that movie and that scene, and I just think, I love technology. I'm like, what the fuck? Where does that come from? I don't. Well, I love you, Dad.
Love you too. Have a good week. I'm sure I'll talk to you sometime later on in the week.
I'm sure. I am so sure.
All right, honey.
All right. Thank you for tuning in today. With so many podcasts out there, we are grateful you chose to spend your time with us.
And we'd love to hear from you. So send us your questions, comments, and feedback to info@twoclicksinapod.com, and we might feature your message in a future episode.
Also, don't forget to follow us on social and head over to our YouTube channel where you can watch the full episode live and in living color. You can find us at 2 Clicks in a Pod. That's 2, as in the number, clicks in a pod.
Well, James, until next time, love you.
Love you too, Daddy.